again from the Avenue Cookery School. Oh my gosh, have I got a delight for you today. I am doing a very different sort of banana cake than I normally do. And the reason why I think it's going to be absolutely amazing, because what I've done is I've got a selection of sort of a Christmas pudding mix that I have soaked. I wanted to get rum, but I couldn't get rum. And I don't know if you know this, but I had a go at my guy's cellar and I was having a swig, I'm feeling quite good actually, from each bottle. And this is the one I really liked. It's King's Ginger. It's got a lovely flavour. So I've just covered the raisins and mixed peel and currants in a fair amount of this lovely King's Ginger and just put it on the heat. And they've all just swelled up. Look, I don't know if you can see that, but they're all little bulbs of juiciness inside there. Not so much bulbs, but you know what I mean. Little bursts of flavour. So that's all softened. And the first thing you want to do when you make anything is, we call it a mise en place tray. You get a tray and you just collect all your ingredients. I actually haven't got a tray here, but I have got all the ingredients ready. And then the first thing you want to do, if you've got an oven, you turn your oven on to your temperature, which is 170. Make sure that the rack is in the middle of the oven, very important, because otherwise a cake rises differently if it's at the bottom or at the top. And then you prepare your tin. Now I don't know the quantity of this, so I'm not entirely sure what size tin I'm going to go for, but I've got one of these amazing jobbies that I found in the cupboard, which is a silicone one, and you don't have to grease at all. But otherwise, to prepare one, this is just basically a loaf tin. You just get some baking parchment, cut a strip, and then just fold it so it just sits down on the bottom of your tin like that. And that's all you have to do. I don't even bother to grease the sides. You know, we want to cook quickly, don't we? And this is the way to do it. That's one less thing to do. So the first thing I've done is I've melted some butter. I just put that on the agar and melted it. And we're going to just put that in the bowl. And it doesn't matter what type of butter. Stork you could use, margarine. Yeah, it doesn't have to be butter. And then I've got the sugar. And I'm going to chuck that together. And I'm just going to whisk that. And normally when you make a Victoria sponge, you don't melt the butter first. But this is a different type of cake. So when you're beating, okay, you've got to think this is a little bit of a workout. So you have your stomach tight arm, stomach in, so that your tummy hole is reaching to your backbone, and you just whisk it. So what you're doing is you're getting some air in there, and you're dissolving the little grains of sugar. Now, with regard to sugar, I bet lots of you have caster sugar. Well, if you can believe it, I always use granulated now. I used to use caster when I first had my cookery school. It's half the price. Actually, I think it's more than half the price, granulated sugar to caster sugar. But it is extraordinary that everybody goes for caster sugar. And things like on the top of creme brulee, it's much better to use granulated sugar because you've got those lovely little big lumps of, not big lumps, but little big grains of sugar, and that melt really easily. And I think it makes very little difference in a cake. Okay, so we've done that. This looks interesting, doesn't it? Look, actually I've got some bananas here to compare. Look, this is what you want for a banana cake. In actual fact, I froze them because they were growing a little bit manky and I thought they wouldn't last till the time I wanted to make a cake. So just put your bananas in the deep freeze when you think they've gone ripe enough, and then you just pull them out whenever you want to make a banana cake. So I didn't actually have enough, so I've had to use one of those yellow ones. I think they've got no taste. Now let's say you didn't have any bananas that were sort of ripe enough. What you can do is you get them and you just squeeze them. So you just give them a really good squeeze in the skin, and that will bruise them, and then that will produce a little bit of extra flavour. The smell of these are absolutely gorgeous. And this one, just going to roughly mash. Okay, it's actually quite disgusting. I like a lot of bananas in my mixture. I don't think you want to mash it up too much. I think you want a bit of texture in there. It's entirely up to you. Here I've got, in fact I didn't have enough walnuts, I picked them out of my breakfast mix actually. So I've got some walnuts, and I've also got some pecan nuts. So just break them up. You don't have to get bananas. I don't think you want them too small. I think it's quite nice to have a bit of texture in there. And then obviously I've got my Burford Brown Clarence Court eggs. You cannot buy any other eggs other than Clarence Court. They are the best. So I don't know if you've ever cooked with them, but if you compare them to a normal egg and a Clarence Court egg, you will never ever try anything else other than Clarence Court, or you will never use anything else other than Clarence Court eggs, because I wouldn't dream of it. All right, and then I've got, where's my flour? Okay, so I've got just actually plain flour, and to the plain flour I've added baking powder. And do you know what that makes? Plain flour and baking powder. I know you can't talk to me. It's self-raising flour. So the baking powder converts the plain flour into self-raising flour. I've also got a little bit of bicarbonate soda. That also helps to make it rise. I don't know if you've used a carrot cake, but generally they just use bicarb, and that is a raising agent as well. And then for flavour, I put a little bit of salt in. So I should really give that a little bit of a peak, so that all the baking powder and bicarb is mixed. So I've got all my ingredients. Don't let me forget, I've got to put 2 eggs in. Maybe I'll just take those at the side because it's so easy to forget. I've got my walnuts and pecan nuts, and I've got my amazing sort of mixed fruits with orange peel in there. And so we just go for it. So I've beat the butter and the sugar, stomach in, tight bottom. It's quite nice having a workout. It's quite a nice feeling that when you're cooking you can have a little bit of a workout. I always think anyway. Okay, so now we're just going to crack the eggs in. Maybe I'll just do that one at a time. Just look at the colour. Just look at the cut. Okay, I'm going to just cut. Let me just break one in and you can have a look. It's just such a shame that you can't talk to me. Look. You're going to go, wow, that's amazing, Diana. It is. Ah, it's so exciting. I just love, okay, this is, I do love my biscuits with my cup of tea, but this is something else. This is absolutely delicious. You're going to love it. So in fact, I covered it with that delicious King's ginger. And if you don't have King's ginger, I mean, if you've got rum, whiskey, brandy, vermouth, whatever's hanging around in your booze cabinet, just cover it. And if you haven't got that, you could cover it with tea, you could cover it with water, but then you've got to heat it to plump those little bits of fruit up. So I'm just going to add that. You see, there's actually no extra liquid that's been absorbed by the fruit. So when you're going to take a slice of this cake, you're going to go, woo, that flavour of King's ginger. It's making my mouth water. All right, and then let's get this in. Hang on. This is quite a heavy board. Not like our boards at the cookery school, but it will do. And then we're going to chuck in the nuts. And then I think, right, have I got everything in there? So I've got the eggs, if you remember. Sorry, let's start again. We've got the melted butter with the sugar that I beat. Then I added the eggs one at a time. Then I added my fruit that had been soaking in alcohol. And did you notice there was no liquid hanging around? The fruit had just absorbed it all. Put in my mashed bananas, I put 4 in. And then I put my nuts, my pecan nuts. I mean, if you haven't got walnuts or pecan nuts, you don't actually have to have nuts if you don't want nuts. Just leave them out. But if you've got hazelnuts, macadamia nuts, you name it, you can chuck it in. All right, and then that's it. And then we're going to add now. I've got plain flour with baking powder, which converts your flour into self-raising flour, because that's what self-raising flour is. I've got a little boost of some bicarbonate soda in there, and then I've got some salt for flavour. Then we're just going to fold that in. How easy is that? So this goes into a temperature of, can you think? It's actually a bit lower, as it's quite a dense cake. It's going to go in at 180, sorry, not 180, 170. Goodness gracious me, come on Diana, get your act together. I actually, I quite like the raw mixture, because I'm sure you've seen me in the past when I do my shortbread. I could just eat the raw mixture by itself. I mean, that looks like a Christmas pudding, that. I feel like giving a little slurp of King's Ginger when I eat this cake. I think probably the most appropriate one will be actually that one. So I've done exactly the same, strip of paper down the middle. It's just a little bit bigger. I think I've got quite a lot of mixture. So I'm just going to pour that in. Just make sure when you fold in the flour that you haven't got a little pocket of flour that you haven't stirred in. So you know, people say folding in. You don't have to be so gentle. You obviously don't want to knock out all the bubbles. Voila, that's it. And that, I should say, at 180, it's quite a thick cake. That's going to take probably at least an hour. Give it a bit of a knock. That helps it sort of not have that sort of little hat on when it comes out. You know, sometimes you can put a cake in, has this little hat on the top. Okay, so we'll have a look at it after an hour. How do you tell whether a cake is cooked or not? You get yourself a knife, you put it in the middle, and if batter is still on the knife like that, you know it's raw, and obviously this is raw. But when it comes out clean, it's ready to go. And then I'm going to actually leave it in the tin to sweat a bit, because I want quite a heavy, I quite like an idea of a heavy banana cake. Oh yeah. Anyway, I'll see you in a moment and we'll see what it's like. Can't wait. All right, see you later. Right, okay, my cake is out. It's been out, so it's chilled in the tin. So I put a knife into the middle and it came out clean, and that tells you whether it's cooked or not. It's still slightly warm. I'm just really looking forward to a piece, because I've got my coffee there waiting for me. Well, it's waiting to be made actually. So you get your knife and you go the back of the knife all the way along, because remember we didn't grease the tin. And you go down here, and then you just tip it out. Wow, how delicious. Hang on, let's try that little nibble that's been left behind in the tin. Wow. I tell you what, those bananas make all the difference. You really must make sure that you have really, really ripe bananas, and always put more fruit in than they want. Anyway, so that's it. A little bit of icing sugar on the top. My guys just turned up. And the dogs, a little bit of icing sugar. Here we come. Slice. Got a bit. Asked him whether he wants a bit. He hasn't answered. Okay, and then we just try it. Yes, he does. Wow. Amazing. That fruit that's been soaked in that alcohol. Bananas come through. This is the best banana cake ever. I can't tell you. Look, I've got my coffee. I've had a nibble already. Given my guy a slice. He's going to be really happy with me. And I just thought I should show you again how incredibly delicious this cake is. So, very important. Sip of coffee. A little bit of foam on my mouth. Really light. Flavour is exquisite of those bananas, so remember, use ripe bananas. The fruit is plump. You don't actually go, wow, that alcohol, but it's got a really nice rounded flavour to it. It is absolutely superb. So my little darlings, happy cooking. I'm going outside now to enjoy my cake. Bye.